Welcome back to Story Explained. Today we're breaking down They Will Kill You, 2026, the wild action horror movie starring Zazie Beetz' Asia Reaves. This movie mixes brutal action, dark comedy, satanic cults, and a lot of over-the-top violence.
Maria begins to worry about what lies ahead. Trying to comfort her, Asia shows the tattoo on her hand and reassures her that everything will be fine. But right then, their father manages to find them. Asia immediately shields her sister, and in a desperate moment, she shoots her own father.
Hey!
He is rushed to the hospital, but Maria is taken back into his grasp. Instead of escaping their nightmare, Asia's life takes a darker turn as she is sent to prison. 10 years later, Asia finally regains her freedom. The moment she steps out, she steals someone else's identity and applies for a job as a maid at an apartment building called the Virgil. When she arrives, she is greeted by a woman named Lilith. With no sign of suspicion, Lilith welcomes her in and introduces her to the residents. Among them are a married couple, Dr. Shipman and Anna, along with a successful cosmetics business owner named Sharon. What catches Asia off guard is how unusually kind everyone at the Virgil seems to be. Lilith explains that the Virgil was built in 1923 as a safe haven for wealthy residents during a time when crime in Manhattan was at its peak. Even now, the building remains an exclusive residence for the rich. She also mentions that the first floor is reserved for staff, and that on that very day they will be holding a special ceremony to honor employees who have shown loyalty to the Virgil. As Asia is being led to her room, she unexpectedly crosses paths with Lilith's husband Ray, who is just stepping out. From that brief encounter, it is clear their relationship is not in a good place. After freshening up, Asia notices a message written on the mirror in front of her, warning that they are going to kill her. It feels like a clear warning, but she chooses to ignore it and prepares to go to sleep. Then she hears a strange noise coming from the air vent. She has no idea what she just walked into. This is They Will Kill You. When Asia checks the air vent, she is shocked to see a pair of eyes staring straight at her. Startled, she quickly leaves the room, but at that moment, the hallway lights begin turning off one by one. That is when Asia realizes something is seriously wrong with this place. Then at 3:17 in the morning, a figure wearing a pig mask sneaks into her room and begins touching her feet and face. Asia suddenly wakes up, and as she looks around, the masked figure tries to drug her. A struggle breaks out, and she is hit hard enough to slam her head. But it does not end there. Another masked figure crawls out of the ventilation shaft, and another emerges from a hidden opening in the wall. Then as Asia appears to lose consciousness, several more masked figures enter the room. One of them is Sharon. The only problem for them is, Asia is not actually unconscious. She's just pretending. Using an exposed electrical wire, Asia fights back and shocks herself, sending Sharon flying. Instead of running, she quickly hides inside a closet while the group of masked attackers prepares to beat her down. What they do not realize is just how dangerous she really is. Because Asia did not come to the Virgil unprepared. The moment the closet door swings open, she launches a brutal counterattack, taking them down one by one. Armed with a machete, she cuts through them without hesitation, even dismembering one of them. As she chases a man trying to escape, her rampage suddenly comes to a halt when Lilith steps in front of her and demands to know who this so-called maid named Isabel really is. At that point, the story takes us back to the aftermath of the night Asia shot her father. It is a moment that still haunts her. During her 10 years in prison, that harsh environment is what shaped her into the ruthless person she has become. While serving her sentence, she hires a private investigator she knows to act as her lawyer. It is through him that she finally learns where Maria has been all this time. It turns out Maria has been working as a maid in a strange apartment building, the Virgil. Then about 1 month before Asia is released, her lawyer tells her about a woman named Isabel who has been offered a position as a maid at the Virgil. So when Asia gets out, she steals Isabel's identity and uses it to get inside the building. Her true goal has always been to find her sister. Back in the present, Asia threatens Lilith and demands that Maria be brought to her immediately. But instead of answering, Lilith calmly tells her to look toward the door. What Asia sees next is beyond reason. The person she had just brutally cut apart suddenly reassembles, as if nothing had happened. Just a flash wound. More servants begin to appear, and one of them deliberately impales themselves, forcing Asia to drop her weapon. With no other choice, Asia locks herself inside a servant's room. But suddenly, the servant's child attacks her out of nowhere. Shit! Meanwhile, outside the room, Lilith casually thanks the servant, as if everything is going according to plan. Inside the room, Asia discovers a hidden passage beneath the floor and quickly escapes through it. As she crawls through the narrow tunnel, her movement suddenly stops when she overhears Lilith speaking from behind the walls. The people inside the Virgil are not normal humans. They are immortal, part of a satanic cult. And even worse, Asia herself has been chosen as the next sacrifice. Her presence is discovered. The cult members immediately begin hunting her down without hesitation. Asia pushes forward as fast as she can through the tight passage, turning it into a tense game of cat and mouse, with Sharon relentlessly chasing after her. Ready to die? Leave me alone. Eventually, Asia manages to grab a rifle and fires, blowing Sharon's head apart. For a brief moment, she freezes, feeling both disgust and fear, wondering if something like that is enough to stop her. But her fear is instantly proven right. Even without a head, Sharon continues the chase. At the same time, a man named Kevin joins the pursuit, closing in on Asia from behind. Just when it seems like she's about to be caught, Ray suddenly appears and saves her. He leads her through the passage, guiding her toward a hidden room. It turns out he was the one who left the warning on the mirror earlier. As they move, Ray reveals the truth about the Virgil. The building is no longer just a residence. It has become a place of worship for something far darker. Wealthy people are drawn there with the promise of immortality, granted through a deal with a demon. It all began when the founder of the Virgil discovered a way to communicate with this entity through a ritual. In exchange for eternal life, human sacrifices are required. Ray explains that only those whose names are written on a specific list can gain immortality. If a name is removed, that immortality disappears instantly. Even the servants are given a chance at eternal life, but only in turns. The room Asia saw earlier is where the servants who earned that reward were granted immortality by Lilith. As they continue moving through the maze of corridors, something disturbing happens without them realizing it. One of Sharon's eyes, still intact, begins to move on its own, quietly following them from behind. Finally, they reach the room Ray was talking about. For the first time in 10 years, Asia is reunited with her sister. But instead of relief, she is met with rejection. Maria refuses to leave. She carries deep resentment toward Asia for abandoning her in the past. After being left behind, Maria had to endure their father's abuse alone. Even after she managed to escape, her suffering did not end. She moved from one place to another, working as a maid, constantly treated inhumanely by those she served. At some point, Maria comes across a job opening at the Virgil, and that decision leads her straight into the heart of this cult. On the night she arrives, Lilith considers her incredibly lucky. Just before Maria showed up, another servant had been sacrificed after being caught stealing. Instead of becoming the next victim, Maria is offered a position to replace the servant who was just killed. With that, she is given the chance to gain immortality. From that moment on, the Virgil becomes the only place she can truly call home. But Asia refuses to accept that. She does not care about the explanation or the promises. All she wants is to get her sister out of that place. Without thinking twice, she knocks Maria unconscious, determined to drag her out by force. Fuck you! Still, Ray warns her that things are not that simple. Maria's decision is not easy to change, and escaping the Virgil is even harder. He explains that the only way out is through an emergency staircase on the 9th floor, a place that is even worse than anything Asia has seen so far. Right then, Asia notices something disturbing. Sharon's eyeball has been secretly watching their conversation the entire time. Without hesitation, Asia grabs it and crushes it. Almost instantly, Sharon reveals Asia's location and where she is heading next, triggering another intense chase. Asia's escape leads her into a kitchen. As she hides, Maria regains consciousness, which allows a man named Bob to detect her presence. With no way to fight back in that moment, Asia ends up lying helpless right in front of him. Just as Bob is about to finish her, Maria suddenly steps in and takes him down. Elsewhere, Lilith ties her own husband to a chair, demanding to know why Ray betrayed her. Ray has grown tired of everything and can no longer accept what the Virgil has become. What started as a mission to sacrifice only the guilty has turned into something far worse, where anyone can become a victim. Soon after, Lilith makes an announcement over the building speakers. She orders every resident to hunt down the sacrifice and capture her alive. The servants eagerly join the hunt, knowing it could be their chance to gain immortality. When Asia regains consciousness, Maria is already there with her. She urges Asia to leave and save herself, insisting that she has her own reasons for staying behind. But Asia refuses to listen. She is determined to escape with her sister, no matter what. As she steps out of the kitchen, she is immediately attacked in the darkness. Even after being thrown back, Asia does not give up. The moment she sees her sister being held by the attackers, she grabs a flaming axe and charges forward, cutting through everyone in her path with raw, unstoppable force.
Crazy when a bear people check. I'm going in. Those south in.
In the middle of the chaos, one of the hunters aims a rifle at her, but Asia pushes forward, using a table as a shield before taking him down with the burning weapon. In that moment, she corners Dr. Shipman, who is about to reveal something important about Maria. But before he can finish, Maria suddenly appears from the darkness and shoots him. Maria apologizes to her sister and tries to explain everything. But before she can finish, they both realize the hunters are closing in. Without wasting a second, Asia and Maria run and hide on top of an elevator. While they are hiding, Maria finally reveals the truth about their father. He had already died from cancer, a condition he had been hiding all along. But before she can continue, Lilith and the hunters find them, forcing the sisters into a desperate fight while clinging to the top of the moving elevator. Somehow they manage to reach the end, but the moment they get there, Lilith and the others are already waiting. This is where everything becomes clear. Maria finally explains why she has been insisting that Asia should leave. She has already accepted the Virgil as her home, and by doing so, she has also become part of its ritual. The so-called award ceremony mentioned earlier is not what it seemed. It is actually the moment when a servant is chosen to receive immortality. And this time, that chosen person is Maria. But there is a cruel twist. The one who is supposed to be sacrificed for her immortality is Isabel, the identity Asia stole to enter the Virgil. When Maria realizes that Isabel is actually her own sister, she is torn between two impossible choices. Hearing this, Asia tries to fight back, but she loses her footing and falls into the elevator shaft.
No!
Bob manages to catch her before she falls completely, but after Lilith stabs her, Asia is taken away to a ritual chamber, prepared as an offering for the demon that finally reveals itself. At the center of this ritual is a severed pig's head, which serves as the contract between the cult and the demon they worship. The names of those granted immortality are written on its skin, and through it, the demon communicates with its followers. When the demon learns that Ray has betrayed them, his name is erased, instantly stripping him of his immortality.
Ray is out.
Lilith is then pushed to kill her own husband. Seeing this, Maria begs for one last chance. But that chance comes with a terrible condition. She is ordered to kill her own sister. Without hesitation, Maria approaches the pig's head and writes a name onto it. In that moment, regret washes over her as she realizes the consequences of everything that has happened. And then, she does the unthinkable. She ends her sister's life. The name she writes is her sister's, a final act filled with guilt and sorrow for bringing her into this nightmare. As she lies dying, Maria leaves one final request, asking Asia to destroy everyone involved in this madness. And somehow Asia rises again. After cutting into the pig's skin where her name was written, she unleashes her rage once more, tearing through everyone in the room. As she fights Bob again, Lilith calls out for help from the demon, desperate to turn the tide. Just as Asia manages to take down Bob once again, the demon steps in and gives Lilith an advantage, allowing her to merge with the pig's head.